Hey guys, it's Carolyn. Oh, hang on. There we go. Hello. It is June 30th, so it is time for my June reading wrap-up. I have filmed this a few times, and different things have gone wrong. First of all, apparently I really do need to film this in two parts, because I keep talking about my books so much, because I just really had a great reading month this month. And secondly, last time my foot kind of fell asleep, and I was in pain, so I had to turn the camera off. But anyway, I had a great reading month, but I did veer off from what I was going to read, which, sorry, but I felt good about everything that I read, so that was good. So let's dive right into it, shall we? I don't know where exactly I'm going to stop and start filming part 2, but you'll know it when I say bye. Okay. So the first couple books that I read were Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and The Missing Golden Ticket, both by Roald Dahl. And I don't have them with me because I had to return them to the library along with a couple others that I'll explain later. But yes, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory was great. I loved it more than the film, which is really hard for me to say because Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory is one of my favorite movies. I really don't like the remake with Johnny Depp, but it's because parts of it were cool. Like, I mean, in it, Charlie's dad is alive, which is cool because in the book he is also living, but in the original film, they for some reason cut him out. But, so that part's cool, but the rest of the remake film is really, really dark, and I just did not get that vibe from the book. I didn't get the dark vibe at all. But the book was just so great because it was just really, really imaginative. The Oompa Loompas were fantastic. Each one of the characters, whether you were supposed to love them or supposed to hate them, were just great. I loved Willy Wonka. I loved the description of like the things he wears and every crazy room that he has and stuff like that. It was a very great read, and it was really comfortable. Yeah, that's the right word. Like, I mean, it just, you wanted to like curl up in a chair with a blanket and read it, and it was just, oh, I loved it. And the other one is The Missing Golden Ticket, and that was really cool, and you have to read it, if you read that one, you have to read it after Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, because it spoils Charlie and the Chocolate Factory for you, if you don't. But it was so great, because it, how do I explain this? It was like part bio, like it had Roald Dahl biography bits in it, and it had Roald Dahl trivia, and it had trivia about Charlie and the Chocolate Factory book, about chocolate itself, and it had 2 or 3 missing chapters from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, so that was awesome. And it also had little bits about characters that Roald Dahl was going to put in there but ended up cutting. So it was really fun because it was like, it not only was like a little peek into Roald Dahl's life, but it was also kind of a behind the scenes thing about how Charlie and the Chocolate Factory was written. So that was awesome. So both of those get 5 out of 5. They're both awesome. If you love Roald Dahl, then read those books. Next up, I read Much Ado About Nothing by William Shakespeare. I love this play so much. I love almost every Shakespeare I've ever read. I mean, granted, I've only read like 5 or 6 of them, but I really do. The only ones, I am much more of a fan of comedies than I am of tragedies. I liked Julius Caesar, but I really hated Romeo and Juliet. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I know I'm in the minority, and I'm sorry, please don't yell at me, but the only part of the play that I really enjoy is Juliet's monologue right after she marries Romeo and she's waiting for him to come home. That is the only part of the play that I just absolutely love and freak out over. The rest of it, no. But I love his comedies, and Much Ado About Nothing did not disappoint. It was amazing. I had already been exposed to this play several times because I have seen the Shakespeare Retold version. I've seen YouTube videos of the Tennant and the David Tennant and Catherine Tate version that they did. They put on a production of it in London where they modernized it, but they used the original Shakespearean text. So that was awesome. It was amazing. Like, David Tennant should do Shakespeare all the time, and he should let everybody watch it because it was fantastic. But anyway, so I had seen those before I'd actually read the play, and the reason I read the play was not only because of seeing that, but also because Joss Whedon has come out with a film that he did that's got an amazing cast. It's got basically everybody who's ever in any of Joss Whedon's things. And it's not in a theater near me yet. But I am going to fix that. Not me personally, but like the Narrow is, which is a theater near me, is coming out with it. In like a month or two. They're like an independent theater, so that's why it takes a long while for stuff to get to them. But it's going there, so I'm really glad that I read this now. But it's amazing. If you guys don't know what it's about, it's this guy Benedict and this woman Beatrice. They really, really don't like each other, but they're thrown together a lot. And they just insult each other all the time. And their friends think that they're really in love, so they're like, we're kind of sick of you guys, like, arguing all the time, and, like, Benedict saying he's never going to get married ever. So Benedict's friends and Beatrice's friends kind of set them up, sort of, by tricking them into thinking that each one of them is in love with the other one. And it is just awesome. Comedy obviously ensues because of this mix-up, and the only thing about this is I would definitely call it a dramatic Shakespeare, because it's, it's very, there's a part, like, towards the middle / beginning of the end, that it's just really, really sad. And while you're reading that part, you're just like, man, buzzkill, like, this was so funny until now. And I mean, everything turns right in the end, but that part just made me cry. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I'm not gonna tell you what it is in case you haven't read this, but dang. But yeah, this is amazing. Shakespeare's insults are beautiful. When Benedict first re-encounters Beatrice, he says to her, "My dear Lady Disdain, are you yet living?" And whoa, I'm sorry, but that's cold. So yeah, I love Shakespeare's insults. They're amazing. He is the king. If you ever really, really want to insult someone, give them a Shakespearean insult. Like, oh, just, it's awesome. I love it. So, 5 out of 5, fantastic. I'm going to stop talking about that now, because, yeah, it's been 9 minutes and I've only talked about 3 books. Next up, I read James and the Giant Peach by Roald Dahl. I'm going to try to make this quick, but it was fantastic. It was very original. I mean, very, well, original and creative. I really didn't like the film, so I was really turned off of reading the book. The book is so much better. It's better logically because they take a lot of the things from the book they take in the film and they like twist them around so that they're completely off the wall crazy, which I didn't really enjoy, but it was really magical. Like, one of my favorite parts is that there are cloud people who create the weather. Like, they make it snow, they make it rain, they make it storm. And that was just really cool to me. I mean, that part's a little hard to read because all the cloud people get mad at James. But it was just a really cool concept that there are people in the clouds who make the weather. It's awesome. One thing I did not like about it, though, is Centipede. I was introduced to Centipede through the film first, and in the film, he's a little bit sarcastic, but otherwise, he's pretty lovable. In the book, oh my gosh, he is such a jerk. Like, basically, there are a couple nice things that he says randomly, but at the end of the book, I'm like, okay, why did you guys stay friends with Centipede? Like, why didn't you just drop him off once you got to where you were going? Why didn't you just, like, leave him, not even talk to him? Because he was just such a jerk, like, the whole time. I was like, who was friends with somebody who was that mean? But anyway, so yeah. But other than that, the book was amazing. Next, I read Anna and the French Kiss by Stephanie Perkins. This book was just fan-freaking-tastic. I was so afraid to read this because it's been all over BookTube, and books like that really freak me out. Like, it makes me want to read them, but at the same time, I really don't want to read them because all of the hype, I'm like, dude, what if everybody else just loves this book and you're the only person who hates it? Like, what if you read it and you're like, I don't understand why everybody likes this book. Like, what's going on? No. I'm so glad that I finally read this because it was so good. I had to give it 4.8 instead of 5 because there were a few decisions made by Anna's character where I was just like, dude, what are you thinking? Like, why would you do that? But everything turns out all right in the end, and I really do love her character because she is very nice, she is very real, and she loves movies. Like, she's a movie freak, and I am a huge movie freak. Like, I was a film minor in college, so, yeah, I really like her character, and I love, Etienne St. Clair's character, but the only thing I would change about him is if he was a little less egotistical, I think he would be perfect. But that is his flaw, is his huge ego. Like, he's like, oh, I'm amazing and I know it. But I love his name, Etienne St. Clair. I mean, it's awesome. And he's just really cool. And I loved all of the characters. I really loved that this was set in a boarding school because boarding school for high schoolers is a lot like college for regular kids, especially in Paris, because in Paris you're allowed to drink when you're 16, and so everyone in the book is allowed to drink, and so because of that you see a couple examples where I'm like, oh yeah, that happened to me in college, once or twice. And there were a lot of instances where I was just reminded of college, so it was really cool. And one of the things that I really loved about this book, it was way deeper than I expected. I expected this book to be fluffy and romantic and wonderful, and it was, but it was also incredibly deep, because there are events that happen, I would say, in the middle of the book that you just aren't expecting at all, that completely change the dynamic of the book and make it really deep, but still very enjoyable throughout the rest of the story, and I thought that that was amazing. So 5 out of 5, or no, sorry, 4.8 out of 5, because of the couple decisions where I was like, why are you doing this? But other than that, it was amazing. The next one that I read was Lola and the Boy Next Door, which I'm actually going to talk about in part 2. Okay, so Lola and the Boy Next Door is next. But yes, so thank you guys so much for watching, and part 2 is coming. Comment on any of these that you want, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you guys, bye.